This is KXAN-TV, Channel 36 in Austin. And this is News 36 at 6.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. What was described as a sudden explosion today forced the evacuation of a Round Rock manufacturing plant. The blast caused even more of a scare when it sent a chemical gas spewing into the air. 4 employees of Dresser Industries had to be rushed to the hospital. 21 others were treated at the scene after inhaling ethyl glycol, similar to antifreeze.
They're complaining of headaches, nausea, some burning in the throat.
It was a stressful situation because we didn't know what was being, emitted into the air. And I think a lot of people were, probably stressed out a little bit too.
The company also says this is the first time anything like this has happened, so they have no safety contingency plan. They're putting it down as simply employee error. And there were some tense moments this morning at Austin's Robert Miller Airport.
A cockpit warning light prompted the quick evacuation of an American Airlines jet. The Boeing 727 departed Austin at 7:45 this morning, bound for Chicago. But the pilot returned to the airport 14 minutes later. The crew of American Airlines Flight 1012 wasted no time evacuating the jet. At least 2 people were slightly hurt sliding down the evacuation chute. This New Zealand resident was among several others who suffered minor bumps and bruises.
All they said was we were turning back. There was a warning light, we were turning back. That's all I know.
Austin fire and EMS crews were quick to respond.
You think you need to go to the hospital and be checked out?
No one was hospitalized. The pilot decided to return to the airport after a cockpit warning light indicated overheating on the tri-engine jet. The 76 passengers and crew of 7 had little time to react.
So I started piling pillows around his head and blankets. And then it was a fairly smooth landing.
We hit the ground, and then the stewardesses told us to head immediately for the doors and for the chutes as fast as we can, ditch all our belongings, and purses, shoes, everything had to go. So it was pretty scary.
An American Airlines spokesman says the heating problem on the jet was apparently caused by an exhaust duct which malfunctioned. The mood is somber tonight at Kelly Air Force Base in San Antonio. 9 volunteer reservists assigned to the base were among 13 people killed in a military plane crash in West Germany. A giant C-5A transport jet crashed at Ramstein Air Force Base late Tuesday. The huge plane was taking part in the U.S. military buildup in the Middle East. The dead crew members from San Antonio were members of the 433rd Military Airlift Wing. The jet crashed in a field a quarter mile from the Ramstein runway. It's been nearly 2 years since Delta Flight 1141 crashed at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, killing 14 people. 8 more lawsuits against the airline have been settled. The attorney says the settlements top $10.5 million. Friday marks the anniversary of the 1988 crash.
This Labor Day weekend, Austin police will be armed with a new weapon, one that will help them fight drunk drivers. Video cameras have been installed in 5 patrol units. The cameras are capable of recording pictures like these, taken by a similar DPS camera. Police say it'll give them proof positive when someone is driving drunk. The cameras have been donated by Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, or MAD. There were over 1,000 fatal alcohol-related accidents in Texas last year alone. Don't wreck your life is the message some gripping new television ads are hoping to get across in an effort to curb traffic deaths in Texas. They begin airing today, and they don't pull any punches, as News 36's Gina Cunha shows us.
Baby girl. The scenes are all too familiar. The message in these safety commercials hit extremely hard. For that, the Texas Highway Department makes no apology.
Be a safe driver. Don't wreck your life.
The most successful campaigns are the ones that are hitting harder, particularly to the age group of the males from 16 to 30.
And that's who the state wants to reach. A third of all Texas traffic accidents involve male drivers in that age group. More than 3,300 people were killed on our roads last year. While past safety campaigns have been effective to a point, law enforcement officials welcome the tougher approach.
You've got to make people realize that just because they drive an automobile, they're not safe, that they have to do things themselves to avoid accidents.
Television commercials are just one part of the massive Don't Wreck Your Life campaign. The priority is reducing carelessness leading to accidents.
Accidents happen when you're in a hurry and not careful.
Drivers like William Best think it'll work.
Yeah, I firmly believe that commercials help. You know, people watch them, believe it or not.
If this ad campaign proves as successful as Don't Mess with Texas, the safety impact on our highways could come quickly. A 5% reduction in traffic deaths is considered within reach, a goal that would translate into literally hundreds of Texas lives. Gina Cunha, News 36.
By the way, the Highway Department is spending $3 million from its safety fund for the Don't Wreck Your Life campaign. The blitz is expected to run at least a year. Robert?
Dallas County prosecutors today filed 7 perjury charges against Dallas Police Chief Mac Vines. The case reportedly is over statements he made to a panel investigating a police shooting. The charges against the Dallas Police Chief are all third-degree felonies. If convicted, Vines could receive a maximum 10-year prison term and fines of up to $10,000. The charges will be reviewed by a Dallas County grand jury next week. In Houston, officials there put to death 17 pit bull terriers. The dogs were seized last month by animal welfare investigators who said their owner had trained them to fight. But a Harris County Justice of the Peace is upset. He had ordered the dogs sold at auction to comply with state law. But Harris County Judge John Lindsay said the dogs were dangerous and had to be destroyed. The pit bulls had been trained to fight using live puppies and kittens as bait and could not have become family pets.
Travis County may have to bite the bullet and raise your taxes to meet next year's budget demands. The alternative is to make some devastating cuts to a number of services. News 36's Larry Brill says today county commissioners heard some compelling stories from those who would be affected by those cuts.
These services have saved my life. I got help. I was lucky. I'd be dead by now, or I wouldn't make it to the age 30.
They talked of life and of death. Clients of the Austin and Travis County mental health programs packed the commissioner's court. They pleaded with commissioners not to cut the programs they need so badly.
I'm realizing just how lucky I am because I had a friend who was 30 years old, and he didn't get the help that he needed, and he ended up pouring gasoline on himself and lighting himself with a lighter.
Yes! All right, Avery.
This is the Dayglow program for troubled children. It's one of many programs that would be severely cut under a recommendation to chop over $3 million from the budget. Now, the problem is commissioners have a huge budget deficit that they're starting with this year, but they feel that the threat of cuts to mental health and mental retardation have really been blown out of proportion. Commissioners have avoided talking about a tax increase, but now they say it may be their only way out.
Why don't we just belly up to the bar and say, we're going to fund those increases, and we're not going to cut in to vital human services in this community as a result. We should have never made the threat.
While some cuts will have to be made, commissioners apparently aren't ready to abandon programs like Dayglow, because doing that would leave these kids with no place to turn to but the streets. Larry Brill, News 36.
Well, if you own a home, get set to pay more property insurance. The industry is proposing a rate increase that would average 25% across Texas, about 10% more than the State Board of Insurance staff is recommending. The good news for Austin is that rates would go up by only about 4.5% compared to a proposed 27.6% hike in Waco and increases of more than 20% in Fort Worth and Dallas. The industry cites massive weather-related losses as the reason for the rate hike request.
This could be your last chance to make the deal of the year. On a 1990 Mazda 626, the 91s are coming, so all...
The ink has barely dried, and already there's disagreement on just how many people actually live in Austin. The Census Bureau's preliminary population count for the city is 461,046, about 7% lower than the city's own estimate. That came in at just over 496,000. City officials say they'll thoroughly examine the information for discrepancies and report them to the Bureau before final figures are released. And if our city's population has been underestimated, its quality of life sure hasn't.
That's why a California high-tech firm has approved a multi-million-dollar expansion here in Austin. With the new industry will come new jobs, and News 36's Deborah Seidel tells us Austin has topped some tough competition to land the project.
Applied Materials has selected Austin as the site for its second major corporate facility in the United States. Austin beat out 20 other cities, primarily Portland, Oregon, to land the expansion project for the high-tech firm.
This is not just a win for Austin, as Roger said. It is a win in international competition.
Applied Materials executives say Austin had 4 main selling points: a strong tax abatement program, good schools in both the Manor District and the University of Texas, favorable community support, and a foothold in the high-tech industry. The only thing working against Austin was the lack of an international airport.
It really gives a total environment that we felt we could come to this city and generate truly a world-class organization for ourselves.
The Manufacturing and Development Center is building on more than 150 acres here in East Austin. Groundbreaking at the Harris Branch location should be early next year, with the operation opening in early 1992. Applied Materials expects to employ 200 to 300 workers at first. The staff should increase to 2,000 with an economic impact of $450 million by the end of the decade. Harris Branch hopes to see the benefits in both the industrial and residential sides of their business.
We offer the recreational opportunities and housing that'll meet the need of those employees.
The mayor says this is the biggest coup for the city since Lockheed in 1981, and there may be more benefits. Harris Branch officials say the credibility from landing Applied Materials should help them in recruiting other industries. Deborah Seidel, News 36.
A man who has contributed to public education in Texas for over 30 years is on his way out. Today, State Education Commissioner William Kirby said he plans to retire at the end of January. Kirby says good things are starting to happen in Texas, but he says our public schools will never really improve until people start valuing education.
I think we have a problem, and until we change our attitude about education and whose responsibility education is, until we understand it really is everyone's responsibility, we're not going to make the kind of progress we need.
Kirby has been Education Commissioner for the past 6 years under legislation passed earlier this year. The new commissioner will be nominated by the State Board of Education, then approved by the governor and the State Senate.
And for all of you enjoying all this hot weather we've had lately, you're in luck because more is on the way.
This is great news for you. If you like this, it's going to continue. Right through the weekend into next weekend. Even the 30-day outlook for September puts us near and above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation, Tanya.
We didn't make it over 100 today, though.
No, we didn't. Right at the century mark. And boy, if we could have just had one more degree, nobody would have noticed. We would have at least tied a record from 1943. But no, we couldn't do that. We broke records the last 2 days, though. Here's what's going on at this hour. We're mostly sunny, it's hazy, and it's hot, 98 degrees. The high was 100 and the low 74. The winds are now out of the south at 9, dew point 65, so a good deal of moisture in the air, and the barometer 29.88 and falling. What's different about tonight is we're lacking the rainfall. We'll show you that on satellites next.
We're a brand new country music station playing the hot...
The heat was on again, though not quite as bad as it's been, but a few degrees here or there really doesn't make a lot of difference. And again, we're at 97, 100 in Waco, got up to 104 there again today, 92 coming in at Victoria. You don't even see much relief along the coastline, 94 San Antonio, and 96 coming in at this hour at San Angelo. As far as the pollution standard index, well, again, it was in the moderate range, but not that bad. Molds, though, remain heavy at 6118, and we've got a little ragweed in the air just to add to the mix in case you suffer from that, although it's on the light side right now. This is a visible satellite, about an hour old, and all we're looking at are scattered cumulus clouds, these little puffy clouds you've seen all day, not producing much in the way of any rainfall. The only cluster of shower and thunderstorm activity continues out to our west. There are a few sprinkles in the hill country, and that's about it. We could show you those on radar right now. This is the 120-mile range. Here we are in Austin, nothing happening here, but here are the showers and thunder showers. They've been southwest and west of us all day, and because they're there and moving to the southwest, we have no threat for rain tonight. So, in fact, nothing in the forecast about it. These will be dying out, of course, after sunset. We go back to the maps, and the big picture tonight shows us, again, a quiet regime, really, after the violent storms around the northeast and parts of the Midwest, damaging all those buildings in Chicago and, unfortunately, causing 26 fatalities and more injuries. Look at the showers and storms continuing tonight along the mid-Atlantic. That's where the severe weather is going to be. The rest of the country is quiet. There is a weather system bringing some light rain showers into the northwest, but that's about it. Lows tonight will be where they have been, in the 70s here, cooling down, though, across the Midwest into the 50s. 50s also out into the Rocky States, 70s in the Southwest, where it's going to be warm again tomorrow. In fact, most of the country remaining dry, scattered storms in the southeast, a few of them dotting the northern plains. That's about it. This is about as quiet as a weather pattern gets. And 90s and 100s again for highs. It looks like We'll be threatening that 100-degree mark again tomorrow. Here's my forecast for tonight. Partly cloudy and mild. Overnight low of 75 degrees with just light and variable winds. I can't even get any wind to kind of cool you off. For tomorrow, then, mostly sunny, hot, high of about 100, southwest winds 7 to 14, and on into your Friday, mostly sunny, continued hot, highs of around 100. So we saw this in June. We got a break in July. It's back in August.
So no moisture, or does that mean the humidity is going to leave us?
Humidities will stay with us, unfortunately, so those 100s are going to feel like 105, 106, but nonetheless.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Big difference, too. Thanks,
Oh, boy.
Rich. Robert?
Michael's here to tell us about some surprises at the U.S. Open.
I'll tell you what, this proves it's making a difference who you are, what you did maybe 4 months ago, you can be beaten. So maybe I should have entered, and I could have got lucky myself. The latest Grand Slam player to go home earlier than expected at the U.S. Open is French Open champion Anders Gomez. Gomez was eliminated in the first round of Wimbledon earlier this summer. And how'd you spend your summer vacation? With Gomez and Stefan Edberg both out, it marks the first time 2 Grand Slam champions were beaten in the first round. 8-time finalist Yvonne Lindo advances, and so does Austin resident former Longhorn Kevin Curran playing Malavai, Washington. Curran is up in the first set 6-5, takes Washington to the court with the cross-court shot. Now, after winning the second set, Curran would jump out to a 3-0 match in front of Washington. Final point for Curran as Washington double faults his way to elimination. Curran advances 7-5, 7-6, 6-4. In the women's court, Claire Wood found out that Martina Navratilova is just as strong as ever. She was put away in the first set 6-love. In the second set, she tries to catch Martina with a deep shot, makes it too deep. And this is match point where she again is much too deep with the shot. Martina, who's won the U.S. Open 4 times, advances 6-love, 6-4. And the old pro admit she was somewhat nervous.
The older you get, the more nervous you get. It works the other way around. People always say, oh, wow, he's a rookie, all that pressure, I can't believe he's managing, or she. Meanwhile, when you're a rookie or, when you're young, you don't think about it. You figure you have 30 years to go, and there's no pressure. If you don't win this Open, then you certainly have 30 years to go, so there's no big deal. But when you get older, I'm planning on playing 2 or 3 more years, but I don't know if I can.
And I'll play Martina when I'm 70. We'll be back in just a moment.
This sportscast is sponsored in part by Gulf State Toyota.
Hey now, hey, it's Toyota.
Our next stop on the Southwest Conference Media Tour is TCU. The Horned Frogs open this weekend against Washington State in Fort Worth. And while the offense is experienced, the same cannot be said for the defense. Manor football fans shouldn't be surprised if they see their former Mustang star, Sad Jackson, get in on a few defensive snaps in his first collegiate season. Here's Rick Hayes.
For the record, Sad Jackson is a happy guy. And if it's possible, he's even made Jim Wacker a little happier.
I am happy Sad is here. That is right. Down the line, he's going to be a great one. How soon he plays, that's up to Sad, But he's in the thick of the competition right now, and we're going to strap it on and let him go.
I can sum college football up in 3 words. Bigger, faster, and stronger. So that's been the main adjustment I've had to make.
Come get it. Don't cross your face now. Don't cross your feet. Don't cross your feet. Don't start down in here and meet that blocker like this.
Horned Frog coaches think Sad has a future as a linebacker, along with former LBJ standout Reggie Williams.
They're all going to be on specialty teams. They're all fighting right now for second unit positions.
Well, as of right now, I'm on third team right now, and that's pretty good for linebackers because linebackers is mainly used on special teams and things like that.
Only a year removed from big success as a Manor Mustang, Sad's making the college adjustment quite well.
Yeah, I miss a few people back home, my family, my parents, girlfriend, and things like that. I miss them, but, this is something you have to deal with. This is some stage in life you have to go through.
Wacker's favorite Jackson tale involves the Manor product's name.
Right in the middle of the conversation, he said, Coach, by the way, what do you think of my name? And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, Sad is kind of unusual. He said, Coach, I've heard every joke there is about, Sad Jackson. He says, I'm Sad Jackson III. He says, my daddy was Sad Jackson and my grandpa was Sad Jackson. And when my grandpa was a baby, he said they had a younger, a 2-year-old or 3-year-old running around the house, and they couldn't come up with a name for him. And the baby started, the 2 or 3-year-old started saying, Sad baby, no name. Sad baby, no name.
Spinning yarns is a famous Jim Wacker pastime, and it's his hope he'll be telling lots of sad stories in the years to come. On the Southwest Conference Press Tour in Fort Worth, Rick Hayes, News 36 Sports.
Real quick, Robert, the Dallas Cowboys traded for tight end Jay Awalt for a future undisclosed draft pick. More tonight at 10.
All right. Thank you, Michael. We'll be right back.
Question: can you buy a compact pickup for under $10,000 that offers V6 power, a 5-speed transmission, anti-lock braking, air conditioning?
Larry Brill joins us now from the newsroom with a look ahead to News 36 Nightcast. Larry?
Robert, the city wants to know what happened to 35,000 Austin residents. It seems the census numbers are a lot lower than the city predicted, and a News 36 crew is looking into what happened to all those people. And there's another mystery that we're checking out tonight, the disappearance of Opie. Yes, there's a monkey on the loose in Austin. We'll have that story tonight at 10. Robert?
Thank you, Larry. Finally tonight, if you still need a reason to start recycling to save the environment, how about for education?
Several Texas corporations are hoping their cooperative Recycle for Education campaign will be reason enough. Dozens of youngsters from Dawson Elementary School helped kick off the effort this morning. You're asked to donate aluminum cans to benefit the University Interscholastic League Scholarship Program, in turn helping high school students attend public universities in the state of Texas.
Endowed funds, and then we have a number of foundations that give to this each year. That's how we come up with close to $500,000 each year for scholarships. We hope this will elevate it quite a bit more, and hopefully in a few years we can double it.
If you're interested in donating your cans, call 1-800-64-TEXAS to find out your nearest recycling center. And I'd like to thank all of you for being here tonight to help me officially welcome Robert Hadlock to the News 36 team.
Thank
Glad
you,
to have
Tanya.
you here.
It's glad to be here. Feel right at home.
Well, you should. Good. We'll
Thanks
see you
for
tonight
joining
at
us.
10.
See you at 10.